Hi, I'm Christian Temez, and today with all my friends at favequilts.com, I'm really excited to bring you the third and final installment of our Quilt Along Table Runner. And so what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and take the top that I have created through this installment of videos, and what I'm going to do is just take my ruler and go to the edges and just clean off everything and make them all nice. To get rid of anything so that when I'm going around and sewing my final seam, everything is nice and lays together beautifully. And then on the sides, everything is nice. And so what I'm going to do right now is take my two pieces of batting, and these both measure 14 by 38 inches long. So what I'm going to do is take my quilt, my top, and lay it front side down and put the batting right on top. And because this is cut pretty close to size, we shouldn't have too much overhang. But if you do, go ahead and even it out on both sides. Make sure the batting is nice and flat. And then what you can do is go ahead and flip it over and lay your back, and this is 14 by 38 inches as well, right on top. What you might want to do, what I think I'm going to do, is just go ahead and trim my batting right to the size of the top and pin it in place. Pinning it in so that when I go around with the sewing machine, this pin won't be in the way in any way, shape, or form, so I don't have to worry about it messing up anything with the sewing machine, but I do want to keep that batting in place. So what I'm going to do is match up this edge, go to the other side, and trim this up. And again, securing it with a pin deep within so it's not going to be in the way of the sewing machine when you go around, and you can take these out at the end. So now, what I'm going to do is take it to the batting side. See all the excess at the end? We can trim that off too. But now I'm just going to go ahead and pin this here and there. And then before I pin this, I want to go ahead and trim off any excess, so I don't throw myself off when I'm sewing up my final seam. And then at one edge, what I like to do is kind of mark with two pins, because I'm going to sew a seam and then flip this inside out so I don't have to bind it. A beginning and an end with two pins. So I know when I get there I should stop, just in case. If you're doing it with a bigger project, that's when it really comes in handy. With something so small like this, you probably won't forget and accidentally sew it all up. But what I'm going to do right now, and I should mention I've already put on my walking foot and my quilting size 90 needle, because now that I'm going through all these layers, I want to have a stronger needle in my machine. But I'm going to go and take this up and sew it up with a 3/4 inch seam allowance on all sides, except for right here where I'm going to leave an opening. And don't forget to backstitch when you get to that point where you're going to go ahead and flip it out at the beginning and the end. because you don't want to accidentally rip out your seam. And so then what I'm going to do right here is go to all of my corners, and with a pair of scissors, I'm just going to clip it right on the vertical, just so that I eliminate any excess bulk when I flip this out. And I love flipping things out because then you don't have to bind anything. That's always a plus for me. And then being careful of those pins that we put in earlier. You can peel some of them out, pull them out. Go ahead and flip your project inside out. And so now what I'm going to do is take this, and I'm going to use these pins actually, get rid of all this excess stuff. Take my project and lay it out flat. Pop out the seam so it all lays nice and flat. Right here, the place where we opened it, going to leave that be for a second. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and all around, just go ahead and pin this together nice and flat, because what I'm going to do now is to quilt it together, I'm just going to follow around all the outside. And then when you get to that opening, what you're going to do is just go ahead and continue over the folded top. You can see how it lays nice and flat, and you'll just go and pin that shut. And the reason why we sewed this up with the 3/4 inch seam allowance is so that when we go around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, it will close this up and you won't see any batting, and it'll look very nice and clean and professional. And you don't have to do any hand sewing, which I really like. So what I'm going to do right now is take this over to my machine and sew it up with a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around the perimeter. And make sure to back stitch at the end. And there you have it. Here is your table runner, all nice and finished. And that part where we flipped it out, you can't see any of the batting. It's nice and closed up really nicely. And here it is, a beginner's table runner. And it shows you how to make a pinwheel, which could easily be turned into any number of projects. But I hope you like this project. And with all my friends at Fave Quilts, we hope you try it. Thanks.